Hello Pisces, thank you for tuning into your general read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the They Lima Tarot by Renata Lechner. For the supportive oracle cards, the magical spell cards by Lucy Cavendish. Already shuffled. Let's go ahead and get these out. See what we got here. All the oracle cards are face down. This is interesting. And we have one tarot card face down, which is in the environment which you're coming into. Alright, so when you're coming into this situation, this piece of it is like, you have the Temperance card, you've been very patient, you knew the ending was coming. You knew the ending was coming for this situation. You've been very patient about that. But when it comes forward, I feel like then you're inspired to speak. You're inspired to move forward and say how you feel. You have the King of Swords here. After the end has happened, soon after the end has happened, you come forward and give your 2 cents on the situation or what you believe needs to happen next. You're very communicative. I feel with the King of Swords here, you're saying what needs to happen next and you're taking action in that direction. Okay, so in the environment you have these face down cards. You got the 3 of Swords face down. You got energy and imagination. All of this is face down. So I feel like this is a little bit away from you in the sense of like you knew the end was coming, it happened. And you bring forth what needs to happen next. You actually even move on it. You communicate it quite clearly what needs to happen next. That's how it feels. All this is outside of your sight, outside of your realm of experience. Like you're not experiencing it, you're not seeing it directly. Not directly anyway. A lot of heartbreak, a lot of energy and imagination in the sense of like, I feel like people have a lot of sadness and they're going on about it. They're not seeming to move it towards you though, I'm noticing. I feel like there's energy away from you that's really kind of, it's very disheartening. That's the 3 of Swords, that's heartbreak, that's sadness. This is very much looking like there's a lot to do between different people who are unhappy. If this is really coming at you, I don't really feel it like directed at you, but it's definitely causing problems in the situation because I feel like you're not seeing it. There's a lot going around that's just compounding more negativity, more sadness. It's not bad that this card is happening. It's bad that it's face down and it's away from you, so you can't really see what's going on. You can't really judge or, allow for the release of this energy. Because it's not a bad card, actually, which I know people might argue that. But this needs to come out. This needs to happen. This needs to be experienced. The fact that it's done covertly, I feel like that's why this is a problem, because all of this is down. People are expressing their sadness, expressing how unhappy they are, but it's all away from you, so you can't really see it or help it air itself out, help it be released, because it needs to be released. It really does. Now, in the environment, the next card that comes in is the 10 of Wands. It feels like people don't want to push this towards you. They don't want you to see the sadness, the disappointment, the heartbreak, and all the... It's very energized is what I'm getting. Somebody, if not more than one, is very upset. But they're working very diligently to make sure you don't see it is what I'm getting. Even though you don't see it, I kind of get that you're kind of clued in enough to know that, the way people are acting, the way you're like, Pisces are typically a little bit intuitive one way or another, usually. I'm saying that as a Pisces. So you're kind of clicking into it, kind of like, that certain things aren't really on point. You know that people are forcing the emotion. It's kind of like when somebody says, you ask them how they're doing, oh, I'm doing good, but you can tell by their tone and the way they say it that they're really not. Or, just one of those things, you know. It reminds me of a kid when they got, you know, all the chocolate all over their mouth, and you ask them if they just took a cookie, and they're like, no, I haven't had any cookies. Like, you can see all the chocolate around their mouth, and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, not you. That's like your little personal lipstick chocolate. Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever. So it's kind of like, you know, you see the evidence that something is a little off here. And I feel you got this face down. See, these are all face down, all the oracle ones. You got harvest face down. Where you're questioning, should I really push my luck and try to bring this forward? Should I try to find, like, should I really press the child and say, it's just an analogy. So, should I really press the issue and be like, I see cookie all around your mouth. I see chocolate all around your mouth. And there used to be 5 cookies, and now there's 2 cookies on this plate. Are you sure you didn't have any cookies? Are you sure? Like, you're questioning, do I want to really push it? Do I want to, like, harvest the emotion that's happening here? Do I want to bring it forward? You're questioning it, like, should I just let sleeping dogs lie, or should I call this out? In the situation itself, what's happening at this time is you got the Ten of Pentacles. Things are as they're expected. Things are going forward on plan. Nothing's out of the norm, really, or nothing out of the norm of what is expected at this point. Things seem to be happening as if you would expect them to at this spot. Face down is the fertility, which I don't know where we're going with this, but we'll find out. It's face down, though. Face down, you have harvest. Should you bring this forward? Face down is fertility. The situation is open to expressing that. So if you claim it, you can have it. I almost feel like this is a choose your own adventure situation. If you want to pull it forward and find the answers, this is face down saying you will get your harvest. You will find out what's really in the soil here that you can really get from. You'll find out what this stuff's really made of. So it is there, but they're face down. I feel like they're saying that's kind of, do you want to or do you not want to? It seems to be in your hands where that goes. It doesn't seem like it's destined to go left or right in this situation, but it does seem like it has to be addressed one way or another at some point. How it gets addressed, like right now, it might be easier for you to actually bring it forward if you just want to know the truth and you want to help air the situation out. It doesn't seem like you have to, though. Not yet, anyway. It doesn't seem like you have to. Now, what comes next in the environment is the Seven of Cups. Whatever way you go, whether you bring out the emotions and find out what's going here, or you just let it lie and let it be, the people around the situation who were originally upset, they're going to start looking at the situation from different angles. They're going to start seeing the possibilities of moving on, of what has been is just how it's been. They seem to be releasing it, letting it go, but also trying to, like, they're going through the motions. They're going through different feelings. The Seven of Cups in this situation is kind of like the would have been, could have been, should have been, with the acceptance, with the kind of like a little bit of more depression and sad. It feels like the grieving process, actually. I know there's not 7. I think it's 5 stages of grieving. But I almost feel like that's what this is. Like they're finishing it off and they're finding new ways to handle what's going forward. New ways to have hope. They're looking at the situation differently. I'm definitely getting that. It seems very mental at this point, like mentally getting into the emotional attachment. Clearly cups are not. Cups are water. Cups are emotion. It's not a swords card, and you definitely are right if you're thinking that right now. But it's just kind of like moving your emotions forward. These people are moving their emotions forward and looking at the possibilities to having a good day, or letting this go, or moving on from that sadness. I feel you, again, whether you called it out or not, after this moment, when people seem to be looking at things in a brighter perspective, I feel like you're thinking like things are going to be okay. And you're feeling okay. You did have a very strong hand in moving things forward. People might not have been as open to moving forward at the time, but they did. And I feel like it was the right call for you, right call for the situation, for the majority of the situation is how it feels. So it does seem like it helped things. The situation itself benefited from it. And I feel like this is going good. What are we ending with? In the environment, the magician takes hold. Somebody else is going to take the reins of this situation is what I'm getting. This could be an uncomfortable moment for you. Because while at that one point you had the moment for the harvest, you had the moment for the fertility, you could have found out what was in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. What is really happening, how people really felt. You had that moment. Now, if you took advantage of that moment, I don't feel like this is that bad for you because somebody else is taking the reins of the situation here. And the magician is moving things forward based on what they want. They're creating the situation based on what they want. A whole new situation is taking hold. It's kind of like when the last situation ended, there was a period of just getting through it and moving forward, moving on from it. It seems like you were in control of helping move that forward. You had a very big hand in moving that forward. It's kind of like, when a car wreck happens, and the car isn't movable. You had a hand in cleaning the debris out of the road, calling the tow truck, getting it taken care of, and getting the insurance company called to finish off that last death, that ending. Finish that off. And you wrapped it all up and you tied it all up. People talked about, what was wrong with the car and all this other stuff, and you found out, how other people were feeling, who they were blaming, if this person had the brakes fixed, or if this person took better care of their stuff, or if that person didn't walk out on the road, all this other stuff. It seems complicated, but you were more about shutting down the last situation and moving it on. You helped clean it up and move on. The new situation is being created, whatever that be it a new vehicle, a new mode of transportation, whatever it may be. Somebody else is coming in and taking care of that. If you got into this at the time and you saw your opportunity for that harvest, to harvest the emotion, harvest what's actually happening, and get into that fertility of what's really going on there, if you took advantage of that, I feel like you'll have the confidence to know exactly where things are going next. Because with that, with harvesting the emotion and what's really happening and pulling that in, you also got the information and insight to see what was coming next. If you did not, and you decided not to, that's the face down version of this. You don't have the confidence to know what's happening next because they don't feel like you dug in to find out. It's going to turn out the same way either way. It's just the difference is, I feel like if you didn't dig into those emotions, you don't know what's coming next, and it could be a little bit unsettling for you, not knowing what's going to happen next. Not really having a clear picture or knowing where things are built from to understand why certain decisions have been made or what's been going on this whole time behind the scenes that's bringing about this next evolution. So I feel like when we're looking back at this, I really, as a Pisces myself, I feel like what they're trying to say, harvest those emotions, find out what's going on. When you have those inklings and you know something isn't right, call it out and find out what's happening. Because you do that, the situation will give you back the truth. You will get that fertility because the fertility in the situation is telling me it's all there. It's an abundance ready to give to you. It's ready to give to you. It's just you got to pick the fruit. You'll find out where things are and where things are going, and you'll understand decisions coming down the road. That way you can have confidence when things do start popping in. You know what's going to happen. You saw it coming and you're not worried about it. It's not giving you any stress. If you don't do that, I just feel like the unanswered questions could get the better of you and could make your life a little stressful. You could end up feeling a little anxious and a little unconfident about what to do next. So they're saying, I feel like what they're saying is get in there, find out what's happening, reap the reward of the emotions so you can know what's coming next, just to make life easier for you. Because somebody else is going to be taking control, and some of you might not realize that. You may feel like since you cleaned up the mess and moved things on, it's up to you to start the next phase, but somebody else is going to step in and do it for you. Even if you don't want this to happen, I feel like it's going to happen anyway. As long as you're involved with the harvest moment, you'll see it coming. You'll be able to deal with it. You'll be able to get your 2 cents in if you feel you need to put your 2 cents in about something to make some provisions about what comes next. That's the time you'll get to do that. The harvest, the fertility, that's when you would put in your information or your 2 cents about what should happen next and, put in your influence on that. I think we're done. I think that's pretty good. All right, I'm going to shut that down there. I hope that helps. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.